Well, welcome to the teenager session. And I see a bunch of teenagers here, and then I see some not-so-teenagers after that. But you're welcome to be here, too, and it's going to be an exciting time. And, of course, the principles of success are the same as you move through life, just different ways to apply them as you're going through life. So we're going to have with us Dennis Waitley. First, you want to come on up, Dennis, and then Jim Rohn. Maybe you've heard of these two guys before. And they're going to take their seats. And the time that we're going to spend tonight together is called The Winning Generation. Why today is the best time ever to be a teenager. And to get us started, Dennis is the guy that came up with that concept, the winning generation, why it's the best time ever to be a teenager. So we're going to have Dennis sort of set the stage for us and tell us why is it the best time ever to be a teenager.
It's the best time to ever been a teenager in history. It's the first time that you have the power at your fingertips. You're able to have more knowledge in one day than your grandparents' lives. So you live in a instant access to global information, and the teenagers today will rule the world tomorrow, because in my generation they only gave us enough information to give us a job. And you know what a job is? Just over broke, just off boat, just over border. The immigrants are willing to do anything necessary. Your competition in your lifetime is a hungry immigrant with a handheld digital assistant. Unless you're high-tech and high-touch, you're out. No one will guarantee you anything for the rest of your lives because you'll only get employability skills. The teenagers today are so much smarter, so much quicker, and you're not willing to take a job, for example, with a tobacco company. You know why? It's because a pack a day takes 10 years away. And so the teenagers of today want to do things that benefit other people, and they want to have something that's meaningful to them. And you're able to download anything from Google, Yahoo, anywhere in the world and have it in front of you. We couldn't do anything like that, and so we were kept in the dark by power. And power was in the hands of big corporations and the government. But now the power is in your garage, up in your bedroom, in your own study. You have the power. With knowledge as the power, with a high-tech environment that speeds up all transactions, by going direct. You know, Michael Dell is the richest person in the world under the age of 40. He soon will not be because of the Google initial public offering. But your ability to be able to quickly sift through information and then use high touch, which means outserve the competition. All you need to do is go to China to figure out what you're up against. You're up against teenagers who come by the thousands to meetings like this. They come without anyone urging to them. They come with tape recorders and taking notes, and they say, teach me everything about success. We're talking about 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds by the thousands. Why? It's the only way out. There's 1 million people waiting on the border to take their jobs in restaurants. But you're the ones because you're here. The fact that you're in this room means you're in the top 1% because you're willing, instead of just thinking about partying, you're thinking about how to become successful in your lives. And you're willing to learn from older people, which is one of the secrets. Why make every mistake yourself? Why not learn from some old people? And that's why you're here in this room. The winning generation is Generation D, digital, iPod, MP3, download, instant, video, streaming, knowledge available, and then high touch. If you always give more in service than you expect to be paid, you'll always have plenty of money because people pay for service and value, and they'll pay enormously for your talent and your knowledge. So make sure that you're hungry for knowledge, just as an immigrant is hungry for food. And if you're always hungry for knowledge, you'll never have to worry about food any longer. The winning generation is in this room. And I'm so glad that my grandchildren are growing up in the environment that you are, because the power now is with the young people. and you'll not make the mistakes that we made, and you'll learn from every mistake that we've made, and you'll be able to lead this country because you'll have the knowledge, and you won't settle for anything except the truth, because you won't accept an infomercial. You'll have to see it backed up with fact, and that's a fact.
Thanks, Dennis. Here's how we're going to progress so you know, and you can be taking some notes and jotting some questions. For the remainder of our time together, what we're going to do is we're going to bring out a special guest who's going to do a little bit of a presentation for us. Then we're going to take some questions. So if you have some questions that you want to ask, feel free to write them down, and we're going to go through, and I'll just kind of do Oprah style, come down there and ask, and you can ask questions of the panel. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to ask you for some advice. And the advice that we'd like to ask the teenagers is, what can the adults in the room do to help you become successful and to help you make the transition to adulthood? Because, one of the great things about becoming successful, and one of the processes of that, is listening. And you've got your parents here, obviously, but then we've got a lot of adults here who have kids in their lives. And so as you're listening and thinking, if you have a question that you'd like to ask the panel, but then also, if there's something that you'd like adults to know, that would be really helpful for you, that we can do for you as parents or uncles or aunts or, people who know teenagers. There's even some teachers in the room with us today. And so that's the process that we're going to do for the rest of the time together. Now, we're going to bring out a very special guest. He was also with us in 2001 and did the teenager session. And he is a tremendous guy, and he's going to come out and talk to you about some things that are dear to his heart. His name is Charlie Tremendous Jones. Charlie, let's welcome him to the stage.
Great. Okay, what a great day it's been. I know you're a little tired. Everybody up. I've been a teenager now for 63 years. Get up, quick, don't sit there. Let's have a little life here. Are you ready? Now watch this. This is the way when you're a little tired and you need a little working up, all you do is take a deep breath. Now watch this carefully. You got to do it right. Take a deep breath, fold your feet just right, and then go like this. Boy, do I feel good. Okay, let's get everybody hand up. Don't hit your neighbor, okay? Get your hand up. Here we go. Get your hand up, I said. Are you listening? Ready? Boy, do I feel good. Okay, sit down, quick. Now, let's go to work. Now, how would you like an idea that the teachers will love you, the grades will increase? Are you ready? Here it is. Learn to be a storyteller. Abraham Lincoln became a great man telling stories. Will Rogers became a great man telling stories. Mark Twain became a great man telling stories. And Jesus, the greatest storyteller of all. But you know what you've got to be learning? Never tell a story without a point. Make a point, but tell a story, because you see, if you don't make a point to tell a story, what's the use of telling a story? So you tell a story to make a point and tell a story. Now, in order to make this point, let me tell you a story. This kid couldn't get a job anywhere. It was tough. The jobs were all gone, and he needed some money. So he went down, they saw they wanted a man at the zoo. So he rushed down to the zoo as fast as he could. He said, I'll take the job. He said, no, kid, you don't. He said, I'll take it, I'll do anything. He said, all right, we'll give you a chance. Our gorilla died. We don't have any money to buy a new gorilla. What is a zoo without a gorilla? So we had a gorilla skinned. We're looking for some kid to put on this gorilla suit and leap around in the cage and act like a gorilla till we can get money to buy a real gorilla, because what is a zoo without a gorilla? So I said, I'll try it. So he put on the gorilla head, started leaping around the cage, acting like a gorilla. They were throwing him peanuts, bananas. He thought, this is a wonderful job. They're paying me. I better work at it, so when they get enough money to buy a real gorilla, they'll keep me because I'm better than a real gorilla. So he would go in early in the morning and get up at the trapeze and swing like a real gorilla. Well, the kids loved this, and they would cheer. And the harder they would cheer, the harder he would swing. And the harder he would swing, the harder they would cheer. And one day he got to swinging so hard, so high, he swung up so high, the rope broke, and he flew out over the top of the cage and landed in the lion pit. Oh, he jumped up. He saw all these lions charging at him. He started to run and holler, "Help! Help! Save me!" And this one lion gets close enough and says, "You better shut up, or we're all going to get fired." Now, wait. I'm trying to make a point. You can laugh at dinner. Never tell a story without a point. You what was the point of that story? Well, you got me on that one. But that's a good story, isn't it? I've been telling it 40 years. That really happened. Well, it could have happened. Now, well, wait a minute. There's a little point. You see, after 50 years of going to seminars, congresses, meetings, I've found no matter how beautiful the room is, no matter how wonderful the speakers have been, no matter how wonderful the excitement is, there's always one thumbsucker sitting in every group thinking, "Oh, the whole thing stinks." The point of that girl's story was to give everybody a good belly laugh. Now the thumbsucker will say, "That won't make my problem go away." Right. A good belly laugh will never make any problem go away, but even a little belly laugh can make any problem look a lot different. Whoa! So, I can't make your problem go away. You know how I know? I can't even make my own go away. Why would yours go away? Why should I be the only one suffering? But already we're feeling better. Now, you can't be a good storyteller without reading. Reading. You've heard it all day. You've heard it from Jim. You've heard it from Dennis. Why? Because it's a fact of life. And yet, and remember Jim said some of you, the light's going to come on, maybe next year, maybe today. Well, someday the light will come on and you'll see there's so many keys to success, but nothing takes the place of reading, learning. But you don't read to be smart. You read to be real. You don't read to be big. You read to be down to earth. You don't read to memorize. You read to realize. You don't read to learn more. Sometimes you read to unlearn a lot of junk you shouldn't learn in the first place. You don't read a lot. You just enough to keep yourself hungry and curious and getting young as you go older. Here I am, younger today than I was 60 years ago, 70 years ago, because when you're reading, oh my, like Jim said, the words are light, and it gets lighter and brighter. And so, how would you like to, how many here, how old are you? 13, the perfect age. Oh, you ought to pay your dad for bringing you, because I'm going to give you an idea is going to make you a lot of money. How'd you like to be driving a beautiful new car at age 16, paid for? Wouldn't you like it? Well, here it comes. When my son Jerry was 14 years old, he didn't have the sparkle you have. Oh, he was a wonderful boy, played football, but just didn't have that sizzle. And I discovered over the years of my life, oh, books. I never had one original idea in my life except once. I was wrong then. And all the great things, I listen to Jim and thinking, and Dennis too. I can tell you what they've been reading. Whoa! And I hope you buy their stuff, but you better buy some of the books they've been reading. So, I said, Jerry, you're 14 years old. You want to buy a car when you're 16? You want me to help you? Oh, yeah, Dad. Okay, I'm going to help you, but the free ride is over. No more free lunch. I'm going to give you a way to make a lot of money. Here's the deal. I'm going to pick out books for you to read. I'm picking them out. You're going to be history books, biographies, Christian books, and every time you read one of these books, you give me a book report. Now, the quality of the book report determines how much money you get. You give me a book report, more money in the car fund. Another book report, more money in the car fund. So in 2 years, if you read in style, you'll drive in style. But if you read like a bum, you're going to drive like a bum. Overnight, he developed a fantastic hunger for reading. He read 22 books. Did he buy a car? No, he kept the money and used my car and my gas. A born liberal. Now, Don't worry, conservatives, just about as bad. Now, the first book I had him read was Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And somebody says, why do you have him read a book like that? I'll tell you why. The first day he came down to the steps, he says, Dad, there's a whole chapter in here on smiling and shaking hands. He smiled at me, smiled at me. I couldn't believe it, smiling at me. He's only 14 years old, smiling already. So then he took my hand. He shook my hand. He said, Dad, there's a whole chapter in here on shaking hands. Shook my hand. Brother, I couldn't believe it. Oh, my. I had him read the book of Joshua. Oh, I love that book of Joshua. It's on discouragement. We all have a right maybe to be discouraged, but no one ever has a right to act discouraged. So we're going to Sunday school one day, and I said, Jerry, how you liking Joshua? He said, Dad, everybody ought to read that book. No, he said, Dad, everybody ought to have to read that book. And when he said, he hit my leg. He hit my leg. First sign of life in 14 years, he hit my leg. Well, let me tell you this. That may not sound like much, but many people have read great books and never once have they finished said, everybody's got to read this book. Because if you don't have a passion and desire to share what you're reading, you may as well not read it. Because if you're not living your life out, you're a Dead Sea. Oh, my. Well, he read 22 books. He didn't buy a car, kept the money to buy gas. But when he went off to college, he wrote me a Dear Dad postcard every day for 4 years. And some of those cards, I'd like to read you a couple, because they were tough years of my life. You know, no matter how anybody looks on the platform, we all have our ups and downs and hurts and what have you. But if you're wise, you see, you'll always keep your hurts to yourself. And you grow through them, and you never suck your thumb and complain and tell people about them. And so here come these cards. In those years I was going through tough times, here come these cards every day from Jerry. And sometimes I put my head on my desk and shed some happy tears because I was so grateful to realize the book he read where he got his seed thought to put it on a card and write to me every day. And the other thing was so beautiful about it, he may not have known the meaning of some of these great truths, but the thought was in his mind, and you have to get it in your mind. You have to memorize something before you start realizing it. And here's a couple cards. Dad, the only happy man, successful man, confident man, or practical man is the one who is simple. See it big, keep it simple. Unless his mind can crystallize all the answers into one powerful punch of personal motivation, he'll live nothing but a life of uncertainty and fear. Tremendously too. Dad, it's simple to be able to know that when you're in a slump, just like a baseball player will break out in time, so you'll break out of yours. Yes, time really cures things. Like you said, you don't lose any problems. You just get bigger and better ones, tremendous ones. Tremendously, Jerry. Dad, I just started reading 100 Great Lives. Thanks for what you said in the front. The part that every great man never sought to be great. He just followed the vision he had and did what he had to do. Love, Jerry. Dad, I just got done typing up little quotes out of the Bible and Napoleon Hill, so that everywhere I look, I see these quotes. When people ask what they are, I tell them they're my pinups. Dad, I'm more convinced than ever you can do anything you want to. You can beat anyone at anything just by working hard. Handicaps don't mean anything, because often people who don't have any handicaps have a bad attitude and don't want to do anything. Dad, nothing new. Just the same old exciting thought that we can know God personally and forever in this amazing life. Dad, the mind of God is so unbelievable. He throws nothing at us but paradoxes. He makes us completely and utterly helpless and depraved, and then takes our failure, which normally knocks us out, and makes us our greatest asset. And then, Dad, when you're behind 2 papers in the 4th quarter, and you're exhausted from the game, and you have to make up a set of downs in order to stay in the game. And you get up to the line and see 5 250-pound tests staring you in the mug. You're sure excited to wait and find out what the play the Lord's going to call next. Wow, tremendous. Well, anyway, just imagine if I had to do over again, I'd have paid him $1,000 a book report. And so I'm ready. How many have grandchildren here? Let's see, how many have grandchildren? All right, here's what you do. You tell your grandchildren from now on, you're going to pay them $100 for every book report, and they get $5, and the rest goes in a college fund. So that way, when they're 8 or 9, they'll have $10,000 or $15,000 to put toward their own college education. They have the satisfaction of paying for it. And you say, well, where will I get all this money? You don't need it. Just tell them it's going to be there. I learned it from the politicians. Yes, that's right. Wait a minute. Wait, they all get away with it. Do you not learn anything? Now, here's a big one. Now, kids, you know, one of the things that makes Jim Rohn so unusual, he has a way of paraphrasing many of the great Old Testament stories and personalities. I just read a book called Conquering Giants, and I'll tell you, it really was something. It's written by the richest man that ever lived. His name was Solomon. And he writes on slaying the giants and the lessons he learned from his father, King David. And may I share just one with you young people? Because you see, right in the middle of it, one of the greatest challenges for your success as a teenager is honoring your father and mother. Because it's so easy when the kids don't even listen, don't even respect their father and mother, but very seldom honor them. But let me tell you this, real success begins by honoring your father. That's a law of life. You see, when the judge comes into the courtroom, we don't stand up and call him Your Honor because he's honorable. We call him Your Honor because that's a title we have for that position, Your Honor. We don't stand up because he's a great man or great woman. We stand up because we honor that office. So you say, well, my father's not a very good father. My dear friend, that has nothing to kids, nothing to do with good. You're to honor him. You say, well, my mother, don't tell me. She gave you life. Oh, my. So I like to tell young people, you know what the greatest accomplishment in life is? You say, being like Dennis or Jim or a big, oh, that's wonderful. The greatest accomplishment in life is making your mother happy. You know what the next greatest accomplishment is? Making your father happy. You know what the third accomplishment is? Someday trying to make your spouse happy. But anyway, that comes later. You know what that is. Now, but here's the point. When you make your mother happy, you may make her happy. You'll never make her happy someday you're going to be when you live with the memory you made her happy. Now, if you break her heart like some kids do, you may break her heart, but you'll never break her heart like someday your heart will break when you have to live with the memories that you broke her heart. You see, it's so wonderful to be learning the simplism of life, not always easy. And so I want to remind you, you can get this, the title of this one from Kyle later, but The Power of Books. Now, I want to recommend all you young people read, number 1, Dale Carnegie's How to Influence People. That book will never go out of style. Next, I want you to read Power of Positive Thinking. Dennis has worked with Dr. Peel many years. We talked to in gym. And of all the books you'll ever read, there's none more wonderful and no more wonderful life ever written. And I don't know if Dennis knows this, but for all the years I worked with Dr. Peel, I never knew a secret. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale was the #1 speaker in the last century to millions of people over 60 years. And I didn't know what his secret was. He memorized 40 verses in his youth. And so I give out by the thousands, and every teenager here, you can't buy it, you can't even put the postage. But you got to write me a letter and tell me you'll do this. I challenge every teenager to memorize 1 verse a month. 1 verse a month. 1 verse a month. And if you memorize 1 verse a month, you say, well, I don't believe the Bible. Oh, it don't matter if you believe it or not. Memorize it anyway. Because there's something about the English language that was mentioned earlier today. Oh, there's something majestic in those words. But if you memorize one verse a month, at the end of the year, you know 12 verses. You know what that makes you? The most unusual kid anybody's ever known. Because very few, even men, know 12 verses. So I'm going to challenge you now to do that. Now, tomorrow we're going to have a lot more fun. But I just wanted to make sure that I got you. And also, kids, when you want to be interesting, memorize quotes. Do not tell people what you think, because they don't care what we think. Quote Churchill, quote Lee, quote someone. Oh my, and she said, man, you're so smart. No, I just memorized quotes. I seem smart. And so the people you meet, you are the same today. You'll be in 5 years from now, except for two things: the people you meet and the books you read. The people you meet and the books you read, the people you meet and the books you read. Hang around thinkers, you'll be a better thinker. Hang around workers, you'll be a better worker. Hang around givers, you'll be a better giver. Hang around a bunch of thumb-sucking, complaining, griping boneheads, and you will be a better thumb-sucking, complaining, griping bonehead. But the main thing is the books. The greatest friend you'll ever have, oh, your mom, your dad, your friends. Is there something about a book? So now, I just want to provoke a little thinking, and now I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm going to go to another meeting, but thank you for letting me think with you, and I hope all of you are going to make a lot of money, drive beautiful, maybe some of you drive Ferraris, but don't forget to send me my cut. I'll see you later.
See you later, Charlie.
Please take care. Love you.
Down this way, Charlie.
Charlie.
Thanks, buddy.
One of a kind.
Okay, so we're going to give you about 30 seconds to write down some questions if you like, if you haven't done that so far. And I can only kind of get to the first row for this, but I'm just going to kind of pick on a few kids here, and not pick on you, but pick you and say, hey, what's your name, where are you from? And we'll get a general idea, and that'll let us know some of the folks, and then the rest of you can be writing down some questions. So who are you and where are you from?
My name is Ray, and I'm from Miami, Florida.
Okay, Ray from Miami. Well, there's a microphone. How about that? Okay, how about you?
Hi, I'm Adam. I'm from England.
Adam is from England, okay? And here's a young lady. You look like you're, what, 18 years old?
Abby, 9.
Oh, you're 9 years old. Abby, and where are you from?
Cimarron,
Where? Cimarron.
Kansas.
Cimarron, Kansas. Okay, so we're kind of getting all the geography done here. And how about you, sir?
My name is Christian Seymour from San Diego.
Christian Seymour from San Diego, which I love San Diego. It's Seattle without the rain. All right, how about you?
Hello, my name is Piano. I'm from Norway.
From Norway. How about that? Kids coming from all over the world. Excellent. How about you, right here?
My name is Daniel Lee. I'm from South Pasadena, California.
Pasadena, okay. Let's see. How about you?
My name is Kent Kingdon. I'm from Hayward, California.
Okay, very good. And then we'll go all the way to the end here, and you are?
Christina Gray from San Jose, California.
Very good. Okay, excellent. So you can see we've got kids, it looks like all ages and from a lot of different areas. And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to take some questions. So if you have some questions, just shoot your hand up and I'll come over, all right? Right in the front row. How about this? Okay.
Dennis, what was your first job and why did you undertake it?
What was your first job and why did you undertake it?
My first job was a Navy jet pilot at Miramar in the Top Gun program, and I took it because America was in the Korean War, and instead of going to college, I went to Annapolis so that I could serve my country and fly. And so I was afraid to fly. Every landing was a controlled crash. But I decided that when you gotta go and serve the country, and I'm glad that I'm a developer of people now instead of a warrior, though.
Excellent, okay. All right, let's go to the second row back here. Joshua, I'm just gonna hand you the mic, and here we go. Don't take it for too long. Just ask the question and give it right back. This is a dangerous thing, okay? All right, here we go.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, I've talked to a lot of the kids here, and they have a lot of goals. I just wanted to know, how do you overcome like a fear of success, because the tools that you're giving us obviously are going to make us very successful. How do we overcome that fear of stepping out and actually achieving?
Excellent question. How do you overcome the fear?
When I got my first large bonus check, I think I was like 27, 28 years old.
and my bonus for the year was going to be like about $40,000. And my mentor said to me, you know, this kind of money has ruined lots of young men. And I said, just try me one time. So I don't know. It's part, you learn as you go. And if you handle the small amounts, you can finally handle the large amounts.
One thing is all of us are afraid. So everyone's afraid, and fear is the unknown. So you're only afraid of things you don't know anything about. So when you get knowledge and you find coaches and role models who've done what you're afraid to do, skydiving, bungee jumping, speaking in public, anything that you do, if you get knowledge and skills, fear disappears with knowledge and action. There never was a winner who wasn't a beginner. And when you begin anything, you're awkward and you feel stupid. Whether you're working on a computer, whether you're out there meeting people, when you're in sports, the first thing you do in sports, Lance Armstrong fell off his bike. He fell off his bike over and over again, but falling off a bike isn't the end of the world. And so you keep getting back on the bike till you learn to ride it. And so overcoming fear is watching other people doing what you want to do and then doing it without worrying about falling down.
You know, a funny story, before we came out today, I was a little nervous, and so I said to Jim, I said, hey, Jim, you ever get nervous anymore? He said, no, not really. And I thought, that's not what I wanted to hear, you know. But you do it enough, and you step out enough, and you... Okay, how about young lady? Oh, here we go, over here. How about you?
My name's Stacy, and I'm from Whittier, California, and I want to know what inspired you to be like a speaker.
Okay, what inspired you to become a speaker?
When I first started to be in business for myself, and I wanted to build a business, and I needed salespeople, I needed management people, that inspired me so that I could teach them the business, so that I could give them the training they needed to participate with me in the business. And so, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you know, I wanted to speak the best I could, find good people, inspire them to do sales, inspire them to be the best managers they could be. And then I also wanted to inspire my partners who worked with me. And that was really the beginning. And then after that, I got intrigued with inspiring people that I didn't know, like making talks, college classes, high school classes, and Rotary clubs, service clubs, and that started my whole career. And once I did it, and got some early feedback when someone said, wow, what you said made a difference for me. What you said got me thinking. I thought, wow, this is what I really want to do. Inspire people to think and change their lives. There's a book that's called Think and Grow Rich. I've paraphrased it now, and here's what it says. If you can think, you can get rich.
True.
You can change your life step by step, plan by plan.
What inspired me to be a speaker is that my teachers in the 3rd and 4th grade put on my report card, talks to his neighbors, chatterbox, talks too much. So you figure if when you're young, you like to talk, believe it or not, there's money in it.
Okay, let's go back to row 3. Anybody in row 3 back here? Row 3, the quiet ones? Okay, row 4, 5, look at you. Okay, how about right here?
Hi, I'm Landon from Irvine, California. My dad and I attended the first part, this is for Jim. I just was wondering, what about that little Girl Scout made you want to change the way that you were living?
Yeah, I was so embarrassed when I didn't have the $2 and I gave her this lie. You know, I've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies, which was not true. We've still got plenty in the house we haven't eaten, which was not true. And she was very polite and said, well, thank you very much. And she went away. I was really embarrassed. Guess what I really was glad for? That nobody else but me was home at the time. And it was just me, all by myself. But after she's gone, I say, wow, I just don't want to try to make excuses anymore. I don't want to live like this. Let me give you now a follow-up story. Later, I am walking out of a bank in California where I'd cashed my check, and I'm walking out of the bank. Two little girls were selling candy right outside the bank. Good place, right? Right outside the bank. Some project they were working on. And this first little girl looks at me and she said, "Mister, would you like to buy some candy to support our project?" And I said, "I probably would. What kind is it?" She said, "It's almond roca." I said, "Oh my gosh, that's my favorite." And I said, "How much is it?" She said, "It's only $2. I thought, that can't be. And my mind went back to the time when I lied to the Girl Scout, and I thought, wow, $2. I said to her, "How many boxes of that candy have you got?" And she says, "I've got 5. And her little friend was there, and she was selling candy too. I said, "How many boxes of candy have you got?" She said, "I've got 4. I said, "Let's see, that's 9. I'll take them all." The first little girl said, "Really?" I said, "Yes, I didn't want to tell him the story. I said, "Yes, I've got some friends, and I'll pass this candy around. So when they've got my money and I've got the candy," this first little girl looks up at me and she says, "Mister, you are really something." Wow. What a different story from the first time to the second time.
Okay, we pass this back to Rob.
If there's any Girl Scouts here selling cookies, I've got the money. I'm ready, by the way.
At first I was going to wonder how you knew my name, but then I realized I was wearing a name tag. This is for both of you guys. I know a lot, you guys quote scripture a lot in both of your speeches, and a lot of times in scripture it has to do with how money can ruin a good person. And I was just wondering, I know how you were like a millionaire by the time you were 28. How did that affect you, making so much money in such a short time and not having any experience with it?
Go ahead, Dennis. Dennis is richer than I am, so he gets first crack at this question.
Well, my dad's biggest paycheck was $200 a month. And so we never had any money. We lived in an $11,000 house, but money was never on my mind growing up. And I've never thought about money. Money flows to great ideas and persistence. And I think money is not the root of all evil, but the love of money is. I think money is the same as knowledge. It's transportation and a library card. It doesn't matter how much money you have, it's what you do with the money that you have. And to me, it's a journey with fuel. And the only reason that I enjoy having a lot of money is I can give scholarships out without even thinking. So I can help people with it, but as long as you don't fall in love with money and chase money, always make money chase you and never chase it. Because if you catch it, you'll always be its slave. But keep money just breathless for you. Keep it really desperate to have you. And then you'll say, you know, I don't really need you, but come along with me and I'll use you. But don't ever fall in love with money.
There's a good thought here to add on rich or poor. This is good for your notes. The poor must be taught not to be cynical, and the rich must be taught not to be arrogant, because both brings disaster. Arrogance for the rich brings disaster. Cynicism for the poor brings disaster. So no matter at what level we are, we still have to be educated. You know, if we have, like no money, we need to be educated as to what to do. If we have lots of money, we have to be educated how to use it wisely, how to make sure it blesses more than just yourself. Be generous. That's the key.
There's a difference between being broke and poor. We've all been broke, but after a while, you begin to become poor if you don't get enough knowledge and take action to get out of your temporary brokenness then you become poor. But many people from disadvantaged families without education or poor because they don't have the tools to work with. And that's why this is the best time to have ever been young in history, because you actually have the power of knowledge and communication at your fingertips. Use it, because it's going to take you anywhere you want to go.
All right, front and center. Hold on here. Well, let me get to you. You ready? All right, here we go.
Okay, my name is Richard Cady, and this is for both of you guys. How did you achieve so much success by just taking small steps at a time and not just spending your money like wildfire?
How did you get so successful taking just small little steps and not spending your money like wildfire?
All right, that's good. Go ahead, Dennis.
I can give you the example. I've been training Olympic athletes for about 20 years as their psychologist for all American athletes. And the interesting thing about an Olympian is at the world-class level, talent is all the same. So it's really an attitude that changes you. But the interesting thing about money or taking small steps is you'll notice in Athens at the Olympic Games, they will not put the pole vault up at the world's record. They will not put the high jump bar at the current world's record. They'll put it low enough so that everyone can jump over and gain the confidence of being able to achieve. The reason that you break everything down into small steps is you won't choke on the whole steak by eating it once. You eat bite-sized pieces, and the more little successes you have, the more confidence you gain in yourself in being able to be more successful, and it breeds more success. It's like shooting free throws or getting in the zone. Once you start making success in a very small way, it gives you the courage to take a bigger risk and go after bigger things. And that's why by the inch it's a cinch and by the yard it's hard. It's much easier to stair-step your way to the top rather than go all the way in one play. You'll find that almost every winner takes small steps to the top, incremental steps, and somehow it pulls you that way without looking like a mountain to climb all at once.
I like that.
It's like Zig says, you know, when he realized he was 30 pounds overweight, and he said, hey, if I just lose 8 ounces a day for 9 months or, you know, whatever, just a little bit at a time, real success really does come from just small little steps. Okay, how about somebody from over in here? Anybody? Oh, way in the back. All right, a little exercise. Now I really feel like Oprah. All right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Catherine Pooley. I was wondering, how did you turn your dreams into concrete goals, and how did you put them into action? And also, what made you believe that you could achieve them?
Okay. How did you make your goals concrete and put them into action, and how did you get to believe where you could actually achieve them?
I started with just small goals. I'm going to teach the goals workshop here before the weekend is over. And you just start with little things that you can achieve fairly quickly. We're going to talk about making lists. And I put a lot of little things on my first list so that I could start checking off something right away. First day, second day. Because make this note in case you have to miss the workshop. Part of the fun of making a list is now starting to check it off. And you check off something easy. You check off something you finally acquired. And then if you check off something fairly major, you celebrate, have a party, you know, live it up, say, you know, I'm the greatest, I got it. And then that inspires you to make a longer list for the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. So one at a time, a few at a time, easy ones. Some goals that are off in the distance are the big ones. You know, a yacht with, you know, somebody to drive it, and you know, an upstairs maid and a downstairs maid, and a chauffeur and a jet plane, you know, those are going to be a little ways off, you know. But in the meantime, you know, it's all those little small things. Achievement, and Dennis said it, achievement inspires achievement. If you succeed in doing this, it inspires you to take the next step. If you finally succeed in acquiring that, it's the next step. And it doesn't have to be big, grand goals to keep you inspired. Just the small things, personal, social, business, school, graduating, whatever it is. That's how you start.
We ask the athletes always how many rebounds, how many assists, and you begin to give them concrete ways in which they can improve themselves, and you ask the question, what makes you believe that you can achieve your goals? All you need to do is read biographies of people who've become enormously successful, and you'll find that each person who's been successful has solved some kind of problem. The outboard motor was invented by Ole Evinrude, who rowed his boat across the lake, but the ice cream melted before he got it to his girlfriend. And so as rowing his boat across the lake in Wisconsin, he figured that he needed to get the ice cream to her faster without it melting, so he invented an outboard motor. And so all the achievements that you see in life are for people who are solving some kind of problem. They're not doing it to make money. So they're not sitting down saying, how can we make a lot of money? They're sitting down saying, how can we solve problems? And if you'll read about Julio Iglesias, he broke both arms and legs, and he learned to play the guitar in the hospital. And so Julio Iglesias became the singer because he was in the hospital in traction. Jacques Cousteau broke both arms in a car accident and swam it out and invented the, if you will, the precursor to scuba gear, underwater breathing, by watching a water spider. Every biography I've read in my life shows me that common people do uncommon things, and it actually makes you believe that you can do these things because average people do incredible things to solve their own problems in life.
We've got time for about 2 more questions, and then we're going to move into the next section. How about you, young lady?
Hi, I'm Kimmy Linares, and I would like to know, this is a fun question, when you guys were little, what did you guys want to be when you grew up? And also, if you have one message to send to teenagers, what would it be?
Okay, so you got to really pull from the way back. When you were kids, what did you want to be? We better give them some time to think about that. No, what did you want to be when you were a little kid? And then if you have one message you could tell to kids and teenagers today, what would it be?
I don't know. I took it one step at a time. When I was in school, right, I wanted to graduate. You know, that was the big thing. I mentioned earlier today when I was 12, what? I wanted to be 13. I mean, 12 was just being stuck. The teenagers all went, left me behind. Finally, I reached age 13 and enjoyed all the benefits. Then to graduate, then I wanted to go to college. I only went 1 year, and then I decided I was smart enough to get a job, and I quit. Then I wanted to get married. Found this beautiful lady, young lady, and she bought my whole story for some incredible reason. And so we got married, started my family, and then I wanted to do well. I just took it one step at a time. You know, I didn't think about conquering the world. I didn't think like I do now, traveling the world and visiting, countries all over, everywhere. I had no idea I would ever go to Russia and lecture over the last 10 years. So I just took it one step at a time. One thing led to another. And then the big change I've already mentioned is when I met my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, when I was 25. Then I started dreaming big dreams. Maybe I could go far beyond what my parents did. They gave me this foundation, why not use it? And I started dreaming then bigger dreams, but just step by step, little by little.
Mine was different. I was too short, too small. My ears were bigger than hang gliders. They still are, but with a helmet flying through the ears, it's pushed them back. So I graduated from high school on my 16th birthday. My mother lied about my age, and so I went to kindergarten when I just turned 4. I couldn't ever date girls the same age because my voice hasn't even changed by the time the rest of them were going to the prom. And so I was this little shrimpy, wimpy, big-eared, and they call me Dumbo because that was my nickname. So if you're named Dumbo, there's only one thing you can do, and that's to try to get approval. So my dad left home when I was 9. I became the man of the family. So I decided that one way or another, I'd try to do something to get approval. And I used to dream over and over again that I'd be in Carnegie Hall, that people would stand up and applaud, and then I would be able to say, am I good enough now? Am I okay now? So many times speakers are trying to overcome their own shortcomings when they were small to keep getting approval from audiences. And in my case, I finally learned to approve myself and not have to gain the approval of other people all the time.
Okay, we got time for one more question, and I see somebody back here in row 4, and we're going to go all the way back here. Squeeze down the aisle here. All right, Julie from Pueblo, West Colorado.
I was wondering, in our culture today, unfortunately, there's quite a bit of prejudice against teenagers. We're told that since we're just teenagers, there's things that we can and can't do, and that we're not capable of achieving certain things. I've gotten that a lot, and so have my friends. And I was just wondering what you thought the best way to overcome that type of prejudice is.
How do you overcome the prejudice of being a teenager where people think and say, you know, you can't do that because you're just a kid or you're just a teenager? How do you overcome that?
Well, believe it or not, I don't think the prejudice against teenagers is as great today as it was when we were growing up, because we were supposed to be seen and not heard. There were never any child-centered homes. They were always adult-centered, and the children had to be in one part of the house, and the adults were the ones that did all the talking and all the things. And kids were pretty well left to play with themselves. I think teenagers are a lot more intelligent, a lot smarter, have more knowledge, and sure, we worry about teenagers because we know that there's influence of violence and MTV and a lot of stuff going on, and we're worried that the values today might be skin deep from celebrity and Hollywood. So we worry about Hollywood being the biggest influence on a kid's life, but I really think that the fact that you read a lot, that you have intelligent conversations at dinner, I really think that, believe it or not, this is the winning generation. I believe that. I know Jim does too. The future is in great hands. I tell you, with you young people, that you asked what advice we'd give to teenagers. Never, ever accept less than your dream right now. Don't ever give up or give in on it. And many people give up before they graduate from high school. Most people give up on the American dream when they're 20 or 25. Never give up on it, because most people aren't financially successful till they're in their 40s. And so you go through an apprenticeship period, but you'll make more money in 1 year than all of your previous years combined if you just keep learning and growing and listening to people like Jim and listening to people who've been there and done that.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give the teenagers about 30 seconds to jot down your piece of advice that would be helpful for adults to know, for us to be able to help you be successful. And so I'm going to give you about 30 seconds, and as you're jotting that down, or maybe you have it in your head or whatever, and then we're just going to kind of process through. And if you have something, because, you know, the adults are here and they're trying to learn about being successful in business and life and those things, but they also want to be successful in being parents and aunts and uncles and grandparents and that type of thing as well. So we're going to cover some and give you the opportunity to be able to give some feedback. And you know what that means, adults, is you ought to get your pencils out, and as Jim would say, write this down, okay? These are going to be good thoughts straight from the kids. It's going to be some good advice. So, and in the meantime, while they're thinking it through and jotting it down, why don't we give the teenagers a great round of applause for doing that. Okay, we're going to do this, and then we've got a couple other little things to do, and then we're going to go. Okay, so if you have something, it would be just really helpful for us to know that would help us help you. Sort of like that old Jerry Maguire thing. Help us help you, all right? Anybody? Here we go. You got something? Or I could just pick somebody, all right? All right, I'm coming. Here we go. All right, right here.
Listen to Jim Ron about communication between parents and children, because he's had a lot of experience.
Okay, very good. And I imagine somebody's going to say, listen to Charlie Jones and pay us to read books, right? All right, here we go.
Never underestimate teenagers in groups, because there's no telling what stuff they could get into. I mean, it's true. anyone could get onto the internet and hack your computer. They could even be a teenager.
All right, never underestimate teenagers in groups, because you never know what they can do. All right, very good. For both positive and negative, I suppose. All right, here we go. Anybody else? I mean, this is like time to tell the parents, you know, they're all back there, and we can even kind of cover for you so they don't know it's you. All right? You got something? All right, here we go.
Mentor someone, if not your own children.
Mentor somebody, if not your own children. A lot of you, maybe if you don't have kids or your kids are already grown, there's somebody in the neighborhood or in the school or in your church or someplace like that that you can mentor and make a difference in. Something teenagers want, all right, Kent?
Well, I think it helps a lot when parents are actually living what they're preaching, you know, like they say, go out and read these books because books are good for you. And I find it a lot easier when, you know, my parents just read, you know, Jane Eyre or whatever, and they say, this is an awesome book, you have to read this, and then we get in discussions, we get to talk about it. It's a lot more fun that way rather than, you know, if they just say, oh, you should read this book, and they don't know anything about it just because they've heard about it, you know.
The old practice what you preach thing, right? Okay. Anybody here? Excellent. All right. Anybody here? Okay. Down the second row, we got anybody? All right, here we go.
Just from my experience, and my mother can testify, teens they're capable. All they need is some encouragement and a chance.
Okay. Encouragement and a chance. All right. Excellent advice. Anybody? You just got to stop me as I meander down the aisles here. All right. We got a couple right here.
I think it's really important to remind kids and teens to really get involved in current events, and if they're old enough to vote, I think that is a really important message that we need to send to this generation.
Excellent. All right, here we go.
Just basically support your children in whatever they do. There's some things that they might be forced to do because the parents want them to do it, but if your children doesn't want to do it, don't force them into doing that.
All right, very good. Okay, as we move down the aisle, all right, here we go.
I think kids should learn at a younger age the value of a hard day's work.
Okay, so the advice is put in a hard day's work, right? Very good, all right. Okay, so we'll come back to you, right? All right, here we go.
Okay, sometimes I think parents worry a little much about what the kids are gonna face in reality in situations. So I think if parents have been there all along and they've taught you good morals, then it's gonna be okay. So I'm just saying you don't have to worry that much to the parents.
So chill out a little bit, right? All right, here we go. Chill, all right, anybody? Okay, over here we got a couple, all right.
Talk less, listen more.
Talk less, listen more, all right. Write this down. Talk less, listen more. Yeah, okay.
One thing that can really help in business is a credit score. And if a parent has a credit card, they can put their son or daughter on the credit card, but they don't have to give their child the actual card. So the child can't actually use the card, but they're building a credit score at the same time.
Assuming your parents have good credit, good idea, right? All right. Hey, Dad, what's up? I can't get a car now, right? Okay. We're moving down this aisle. Anybody? We see anybody here? Anybody in this aisle? Is it worth my while to make it down the aisle? Okay, then I'm going to come back here, and I'll hit you guys, and I'll come down this aisle, okay?
Don't think that we're too young, because the younger we are, I mean, I've been reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I've just gotten that even though you're young, you can still learn the things that can help you be successful as you get older. And just, I mean, my dad has given me, given me a lot of experience in things that usually we wouldn't start doing until we were a lot older. But now I've learned so much more that most people wouldn't learn until after high school.
Awesome, great advice. Okay. Here we go. Now, is that a real tie? I mean, is that goes around your neck and everything? I got to tell you, one of the things I'm amazed about teenage boys is they can tie a tie. I mean, I was like 28 before I could tie a tie. You know, I had clip-ons and the little rubber band things. And okay, enough about me. Something about you. Here we go.
If you're involved at all in any kind of education situation, begin to bring this into it, because you know we're not all blessed enough not everybody's blessed enough to have parents who are willing to bring into this or know something about this. And I'm going to college and I'm finding people, you know, we're clueless. If people I go to school with knew about goal setting, if they knew about it, their lives would be so much simpler. Get it into the schools, you guys. Get it into the schools, because this is great, but as you said, it's only 1% of the population. We need to get it to the rest of us because they don't know it. And I mean, I'll talk to people and they just have no idea where they're going. They're going to school because it's the whole situation. That's how they were raised. Get a good job, get a good education, get a good job. They don't know any better. They need to know the goal setting and everything. And it's just, without it, we're still got a long ways to go.
Excellent, excellent. See, it's 2004. We'll probably do another one of these in 2007, and maybe we can make it a goal to double the size of the teenagers, and we all come back and we have to get a bigger room and get more kids in here and do more for the next generation. Can we all just kind of set that as the goal, put it in the book for a few more years and bring more kids back? Okay, there we go.
I think one thing that a lot of adults need to hear is that you need to raise the bar. A lot of us as teenagers, if we're told for 18 years of our lives that we can goof off and do whatever we want and there's no consequences for our actions, the next 18 years aren't going to go very well. So teach us now, give us the training that we need, just like this, and also give us the chance to put it into action.
Excellent. Raise the bar, all right? Here we go. You're not a teenager, are you? All right, here we go. Moving down the aisle here. Anybody in this aisle? No? All right, here we go.
Just a suggestion for the parents. Take your children out for a nightly walk, like half an hour. You get physical activity and you also get to talk to them.
Yeah, walk or play catch or something together. Yeah, very good. All right, here we go.
I would say one of the most important things is to instill a good work ethic in your kids and to also not force them, but definitely encourage them to save their money early on. I mean, my mom always taught me to take at least 10% of whatever money I got and put it into savings and 10% into charity. And that way, I never can touch that money until I'm in college and using that as a down payment on a house. And I think that by doing that, you're just setting your kids up for success.
Very good. Am I missing anybody here? No. Okay. Excellent. That was a very good thing. All right. Dennis, you have something for us, don't you?
Jim and I, you probably don't know this, many of you, but we're old. And we've been there and done that. And I just want you to know that we try to identify and to communicate so that you don't think that we're just old fools or your grandfathers are preaching to you. So what I'd like to do is show you that we try even though we look stupid when we do it. And I want you to think about Will Smith. And I want you to think about, maybe getting jiggy with it. And remember, and here we go. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Get on your mark. Get ready to go. I'll tell you about your winning generation, why we're here for all this celebration. Easy to explain, ain't no doubt about it. Selling person freedom, don't have to shout it. Put some stuff in your mind. Make sure you get it right. Practice every day and practice every night. First, you got to find it and get behind it. It ain't funny. You want to make some money, but what you want to do is get rich doing good, finding people doing things they should. Don't deny the good life's what you want to score. It's not about the money, but I'm tired of being poor. If I live to be 100, just like Bob Hope, I want to be rich. I ain't no dope. Get back to the store and stock up on the tools so you can learn the story, not look like a fool. Remember what I told you and put it in your pitch. The stuff will make you healthy, but you'll also get rich.
Music was missing.
Yeah, excellent. And the beat.
That was fabulous.
You should have seen the kids in school. They go, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
They say he looks like a lobster with his hands that look like claws. He's on the wrong beat.
That's good.
Excellent. Any final words before we wrap it up from either of you?
I got one quick final word that I give to adults. Might as well start when you're young. Learn more than one skill. That's number one. Because it'll serve you well in the future to know more than one skill. A baseball player who can play more than one position has an advantage, okay? Learn more than one skill. And then here's the next one. This is really important. learn more than one language. Some of my business colleagues who speak 3-4 languages make $3-4 million a year. One of it is they have the advantage of those extra languages. Who's here from, was it Norway? This young lady? Norway? How many languages do you speak?
At least 3 plus.
3, she's on her way to 4 languages.
Plus Australian.
Yeah, Australia, that's another one.
No, it's okay.
In the Scandinavian countries, you must learn 4 languages in the school system. 3 they assign, 1 you can choose. So that when you graduate from the school system, you know 4 languages. And in Europe, multiple languages is so valuable.
If you live in California, you need Spanish and English. You have to be bilingual in Spanish. Why not? We're right on the border. I advise all of you to learn Mandarin.
Someday,
because more people
China.
speak Chinese in the world than any other language.
Dennis, how about you? Any final words? Any final words?
Other than the Olympic athletes wear the gold medal inside before it's ever placed around their neck. So winners believe in their dream when that's all they have to hang on to. So be an Olympian within, and then you'll perform later. But you'll never perform unless you believe you're capable of it. So be a world-class person, and then you'll become a world-class something.
Excellent stuff. All right, let's give Jim and Dennis a great round of applause.
Thank you.
And then let's give our teenagers a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
And then let's give ourselves a big round of applause for a good first day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.